Welcome to the Connect Club, collectively cultivating creativity through conversation.
Yeah, build with someone.
We're not against
You know what I mean?
you like the guy giving money, but not just to a random girl because you are getting.
You can keep the girl when you're working or in a setup because if varsity, I don't think it's a wise thing.
You're being stupid, Clark.
Being stupid.
What are you gonna eat?
Personally, even the allowance I get, I still struggle myself alone to finish the month. So there's not even a 5 rand to give someone. Like for real, personally, yeah. for myself, for my own, I still struggle to finish the month.
Exactly, though. What are you gonna try? You're gonna be skinny, bro. So, alright, guys. I think when you start working, maybe, but she has to be the right one, though.
Yeah.
Also, guys, they just need to make sure that when they make sure when they're betting the game, they don't regret it after. Just bet it for pure intentions. If you are doing it, don't then come back trying to ask if you wasted your money and everything. No one forced you to do it. You are supposed to do it under a marriage.
Yeah. Under marriage.
What was the question actually?
Beauty versus brains, yeah. Let's summarize it. Beauty versus brains.
Beauty versus brains.
Beauty or brains, yeah.
I could say, okay, when I was young and when I was praying, as you see, I'm not young anymore. It's like, so I used to say like, I'm asking a lady that is beautiful but also with brains. I want both, and there's so many people that you're saying like, that's impossible. You know what I mean? Choose one. Okay, I'm gonna choose one, and I'm gonna give it a reason why, like a statement behind.
It's more reason.
A statement behind.
I think his girlfriend is watching it right now.
Number 3.
No, I'll say beauty, ne? Beauty, right? But then, my statement is, remember, a person that is beautiful to me is not beautiful to you. So you have different eyes of beauty, So everyone is beautiful for their own person. You know what I mean? So obvious, the person that I see that person, obvious, I'm attracted by beauty. First thing first, like when I get into a lady or when I see her, it's beauty. More than brains, because I can't see your brain, like, I can't see your brain.
No, Tana, we understand. We understand.
Sure. Some of us has been hit so many times, so even if you see a girl like it's beautiful, it just doesn't matter. We just want to know you first now. You two are been haters, so
brains, your brains.
Yeah, brains are coffee brains, anything.
Your beauty.
Brains.
Beauty.
It depends. What are you asking? Are you talking about when I just want my foot in the door, or to build a relationship?
No.
To build something with a proper future.
Because your question was what do you look for in a woman? That was the initial question between beauty and
obviously
brains.
you look for it after you have your foot in the door, right?
Yeah, you look at how she conducts herself. Look, these for me, it's
That's brain.
For me, these
That's
a guy and a girl basically. The final goal is marriage, right? The final goal is marriage.
The final goal is marriage. Actually, the purpose of dating is what is getting
It's to be married. And even when you're married, there's different types of intelligences. Some people are better emotionally wise, some people are better with the books.
Sure.
If she's not the brightest in the books, but she's got a good heart, it's fine. That's use, like you said, anybody's willing to learn. I'm not the smartest in a lot of things, she'll teach me, and I'll teach her. I don't need somebody, because when you're saying brains, me, I'm sort of thinking this one, she wants to now.
She's not talking about academics brain, she's just talking about someone who can listen,
in general,
who can also understand. You see, that's why I feel like a brain girl is good, because you can even teach her you can improve. So even if she's not a 9 out of 10, even if she's a 5 out of 10, you can get her to a 7 out of 10, because she becomes someone who's willing to learn.
If you're looking at beauty, like, let's be honest, when you're 50, how beauty is you? Like, come on. You want to be with her till she's like 70. That beauty is going to fade very, very fast.
Exactly.
So if you just went in for beauty, chief, you'll be disappointed.
And you'll always want to
always be high.
You'll be thinking, if we're talking about brains like that, it's brains.
Yeah, okay, now we can talk about something else. That was long, but like, gents are passionate about that one. So, this week, there was Elon Musk was trending on Twitter, bro, about the genocide. So apparently,
Yeah.
he was tweeting about the farm murders and stuff. So he thinks that there's a farm murder genocide in SA. That's what he thinks on Twitter because of that song they sang at the EFF thing.
Kill the Boers.
Yeah, kill the Boers, and like Julius was singing it passionately
Yeah.
at the rally, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, man, when last did Elon Musk actually come to SA? Because I mean, when I was looking at the stats, 21,000 people were murdered in SA. 13% of them are in Cape Town, and less than 1% of them are farm murders. So really, I mean, does it make sense to call it a genocide?
Okay, if you remember, I think 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I think about 3, 4, 5, there was this thing of like, I don't know, it was a sickness or a disease of people killing farmers and stuff. It was really, it became a trend somehow.
It did,
You know. So I think I do understand where they're coming from because it can raise, you know, like when you are a party leader or you're just not a leader but then a political leader, you know. So whatever that you say, it has a sort of like an effect into people. You can get it to people and then people, they can react, you know, in some other ways. And then I think they're just coming from that point to say, now they're afraid of their lives because they are the minority, we are the majority. If the majority can go crazy, my guy can go crazy, you know. So it can sort of like raise those things inside of people. So I think I understand where they're coming from. You know, yeah.
You understand where they're coming from.
To say that it can, because it happened, I think 3, 4, 5 years ago. Just it was just strange.
Yeah, I think it happened, but I don't understand the thing with people by even the time I still don't understand Malema. Like Malema will always try to make them like angry, and he always tries to make the white people angry, and I think he enjoys it most. Because you can see it in the confidence how he say it. It's like I'm still gonna say kill the poor. I can't. You know what to say. He said it to his conference the other day when they asked me about it. He's like, I can't teach Elon Musk. Elon Musk already looks like an artist. I can't teach you why I'm singing the song Kill the Poor. I want a case in court because of that song.
Exactly.
But he even won a case on the national court.
Yes, national court to sing a song. That song, the main idea of it wasn't really to kill the poor, because there's kiss the poor, there's kill the poor. So
kill the farmer, kill the poor.
The song itself is a struggle song.
It's a struggle song.
It's a representation
so
of
Malema's idea is it's a struggle song. So how do you expect Ubuntu to win a struggle song?
Because it's apartheid. Like, it's a song.
So what I'm gonna sing is how I want it. I'm gonna say kill the poor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but guys,
I think he said like that song or that phrase "kill the poor, kill the farmer."
Yeah.
It represented a system, because in the olden days when they used to see
like
police and stuff and whatever, you know, kill the poor, kill the farmer. So they used to see what a system it is a system, but they represent it in kind of like weights and those ways, you know.
Yes.
So like kill the system, you know, that system that kills people, that just wants people to be oppressed. I think that's the idea.
That's why I don't see what John Hesden busy be reacting like this.
And then I thought to my, I saw John Steenhuisen responding, but then he responded with an Afrikaans message on Twitter. Then I asked myself, which black people are gonna vote for this guy?
Like, this thing don't know Malema. That's the thing with me. Like, this guy just trying to anger the black people.
Have you guys seen like the way Malema has changed? The way he like speaks on public, the way he represents himself in the public. He is no longer like that violent, because he noticed that people didn't really like that violent, obviously just being violent. But then have
aggressive.
Be aggressive in a way, but have that, you know, but also just be genuine, be human. And now I think it's gaining the heart of people, because what he speaks, it's leading to the core of a human being. You know, he speaks from the heart. He speaks from not something that he read from the book, something like from the heart. You know, so he resonates with people in a way, and people are starting to like him. You know,
I think Malema is always like this. You see, in public spaces, like where he has most time, he is able to say his idea proper. But his idea was in Marx's podcast. She was like, when you get into parliament, you only have 5 minutes to speak there. So when I speak there, I had to make sure that I make my way down. I had to shut. But when you actually listen to him in podcast and when he's addressing the public, he actually speaks things that they actually, some of them they make sense. So that's when you actually. So now people they get to understand him with those kind of things. Now they listen to their chin side of Malema. You know what? You see, he's a transparent guy. Right now I was talking about how they got 34 million out of nowhere.
34 million.
You saw what they donated 34 million. His idea was like the NC didn't have money now to for the time now they have to go there, look for people to vote for them. So the NC is like they didn't have money. So Malema's idea. So what they did, the parliament, they had to put the money in every of those things like DA, they had to add some money so that they can go in. What do you call this thing?
The
campaign, yeah.
The campaign.
So they give them 34 million to go and campaign. That's what Malema actually used to sponsor the FNP. He said like, but we didn't wait to them so that they can sign to be sure that yeah. But then this idea was like, we didn't even need that man. But the ANC might have to be the part that needed it to campaign. So now they had to give everyone. So those kind of things.
I wanted to ask, man.
Sure.
Now we know about DA, the EFF, ANC. Do you guys think democracy was a scam? We think Mandela genuinely made a mistake. ANC made a mistake in 1994 when they said, we apologize, we forgive the whites for apartheid, and we must just move on. Because why I'm asking, because I'm looking at unemployment, I'm looking at murder, I'm looking at standard of living in SA. Economic growth is like at its lowest.
But then
and I'm thinking, people are suffering, people are dependent on these large conglomerates for their basic needs. Like you're saying, we need things to survive. We need water, electricity, shelter, food. If you look at who owns ShopRite, it's Christoph via Seas White. If you look at who owns cigarette, these conglomerates who produce cigarettes, who produce alcohol, it's Stellenbosch Mafia, most of them. So I'm thinking to myself, do we really, as black people, provide for ourselves in South Africa? Or are we dependent on something else?
What's the alternative? What's the alternative?
That's what I'm saying. That have we made really progress since 1994? Because pre-1994, these people made all this progress. To check us, the ShopRite, the Ackermans, the Remgro, Rupert is like the richest guy in Africa. Sure. So how long is it going to take for Africans to rise up? Because now it's been 26 years. People have been dying. People are unemployed. Was democracy a scam? In a sense that they don't give black people ownership. BEE is useless. I mean, it doesn't do, what does it do? What has it done for South Africa? It's only benefited the little few.
Some particulars.
Exactly.
You see, that brings me to a point whereby I still think people, I think it's high time this year or the other time when they say vote, they give the FF a chance. Because when you look at SA has ANC, which has the political power, it has the white majority, which has the economic power. Many of the economy is run by the white people, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So what EFF's idea is trying to take the economic power from the white.
But then I'm asking, how are they going to do that? Do you agree? If we vote for the EFF, it means what? Land is going back to black people. So I'm saying, how many black people?
No, you see those things, there are a lot of implications around that. I don't think out of land that is already signed and everything, you can just take it. Without compensation.
Without compensation.
When I listen to Julius most of the time, I was like, his idea is there are lots of land which the whites own which are not even using it. So his main idea, he wanted to take that land because they are not even using it, and also wanted to privatize, to nationalize most of the companies. You see, he was going to do what's opposite to what Ramaphosa did. Like Ramaphosa privatized South African Airways, there was no need. Now South African Airways is more expensive, there was no need to privatize it. So he also nationalize it. So those kind of things, trying to take away the economic power from the white, so that the black people, they can also rise up to the standard. Then when we are at a level where we are all balanced,
I remember, I don't know, I had this, he said,
because Julius Malema is not above the law. I don't think he can just steal land from someone.
Yeah, he's not above the law. So, definitely.
But those land that are not used, but I feel like he needs to fight for it. So that they have other people have get a chance of, because there's people they get it a long time ago. So if you're not using the land, let another black person have it. I mean,
so I think what he's
getting for is because they're not losing it. Obviously, it's not going to take a one farm.
So I think for me, he's fighting for I think he said that in a prior apartheid, so the government used to help its own people, white people, like to, for them to have a sustainable life in order for them to build businesses and things that they are as they are now.
Sure.
But then coming to your question and saying, is it really? It was really what
Since
Is it really working?
it's really working.
What Mandela said.
What Mandela did for me, I think it was good, ne? But then, what happened is that people that were involved in that political sector, in that political sector, in that time, they are the ones who changed the contract. Let me say the same. The people that were involved are the ones who changed the contracts, because there were certain things that were drafted to say we want these particular things, but then certain things in that contract or in that things that were supposed to be signed, somehow they were changed by those particular people that were there in 1994. They say, I think I've heard that also President Ramaphosa was kind of like involved in those, changing some of the things that, they were supposed to be, and then now they are on the other side. So I think what we can do, as South Africans, it's really tough.
It's a very complicated.
It's a question, yeah.
But what do you think, Steve, about giving the SDA
What do you
the
think?
power?
I think people should vote.
An economic power, bruh.
And youth should vote. I don't know who's motivating youth not to vote.
Guys,
whatever.
10 million people voted for the ANC, right? 2017.
Was it in 2019? I think it was about around 7-ish million, 7.8 thereabout. 2019, sorry.
2019.
Yeah, in the last national elections, and about 7-ish million also people didn't vote.
How many of them are young people though? How many people?
How many
I
didn't
need
vote?
to
How many?
check. About 7 million, just under.
Seven.
Yeah, just about 7 million.
There's more young people.
We've got an actuary here. Just look at that pool. If those 7 million people just voted for X party, now not only the ANC's majority would go down to about, I think 37-ish%. That party would be second in power. Number one, people should just vote. Go out, vote. What does it cost you? A few hours a day. If you're unemployed, you're just in your room doing who knows what. Go out, go vote.
Yeah, everyone should vote.
Learn who your ward councillor is. Where I live in a small town. I know who my ward councillor is. We know who she is. She's a really good woman. She has helped us during load shedding when we had like a really bad power outage. She managed to get Eskom to suspend our load shedding for like 2 days because we didn't have electricity for like a long time. And she managed to suspend it. You have to know who you're voting for. Just at a local level, know who is supposed to be representing you.
Okay.
Sure.
At
a basic
just
level.
know your ward councillor.
Exactly. That's where you can start. When it comes to voting, to say that the democratic project has failed, I don't think gives, number one, the ANC, the ANC has still done a lot of good. And even democracy still has, look at Botswana. What they've done with their democracy, they have done exceptionally well. For what they were, 2 million people country, what? And the economic growth that they've managed to generate is pretty brilliant. I think the problem, look at Eskom for example, right? That's the best example you can give. What the ANC wanted to electrify South Africa, basically, right? There was a good project. A lot of people who have electricity now didn't have it 30 years ago.
Yeah.
What was one of the problems they did? They didn't build enough power stations. That led to now we have a deficit in terms of electricity. There's higher demand than supply. The university issue. One of Mbeki's failures, I guess, was not realizing that we're educating all these black people now. That's the ANC did. They're educating black people. What's happening? We have too many university entrants now. We don't have enough universities. They should have built more universities to at least stem up that demand because it was going to come. Zuma tried to do that. He built the one in Mpumalanga and then the other one in the Northern Cape. That was one of the things he tried to fix. I think the ANC's done a lot of good. I also think it hasn't, I don't want to say it's done bad so much as it's not lived up to the promises that they give. I think Mandela gave people too many promises. I think he promised people heaven that he could not provide. I think something like free education, for example, is not sustainable in the long term. And as far as it's great, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. There's too many poor people in South Africa who will not be able to afford university. They're struggling, yes.
Yeah.
Number one, it was it used to be able to pay it back. It used to be a loan. I understand why they moved it away from that. If you're gonna make it free, for example, here's something you can do. What are the skills that we're short of in South Africa? And then let's say we don't have enough quality engineers. Okay, let's fund those programs. Let's guide our people. Because it's like what Talent was saying earlier. We have so many young, in terms of parents, who don't know how to maybe help their children out, how to raise them in the correct way. How are those kids going to know, okay, I should study this and I'll be better? Let's let the government say, okay, we're going to fund these programs that are in short supply, and in that way, that we're building skills. And then when you come out of university, I don't know, maybe
you're contributing to the economy somehow. Yeah.
Say that you have to work in the country.
Sure.
Say like for the first 5 years of your working life, work in South Africa. So that like JV says, some people will work in, for example, they'll get funded by the Eswatini government and then leave basically. Yeah. But at least there it's still a loan. But here, if it's free, imagine now the government has paid you 500,000 rands over a university career, and now you leave. What investment was that? They've lost their money quite literally. So say, okay, your first 5 years, for example.
Then it has to be compulsory. It's a choice.
Yeah. Let's say make it. If you don't want to pay the money back, work in South Africa, right? If you want to leave South Africa, it's fine.
Oh.
You will pay this money back. We're not going, but you don't even need to necessarily charge interest. But find a way of incentivizing people to at least stay in the country to protect this investment. That we all pay tax in some way. Even VAT is still tax. We're all paying for these people. Why should I pay for somebody to study in South Africa and then leave with those skills?
Maybe they can have like vacation programs like June or whatever. Go to the place you might be working at or you want to work at.
Exactly. Find ways to incentivize people. Don't just throw money at the problem. Money that South Africa is increasingly not having. Otherwise, you just land in a situation where you get so many. I am not a fan of BA degrees. A lot of people know I don't like BA degrees. The reason I'm not a big fan of them is I understand their utility, but there are also a massive amount of them who are just unemployed because you don't really need those things. Those degrees are just theoretical at best. We need people who have skills in South Africa. We don't need somebody who's gonna tell me about some war that happened in 1873. I don't care. my guy.
Yeah, we don't care.
My guy, I have YouTube for that. If I'm hungry, I want to eat. I don't need to hear your struggles here. We've all got struggles.
Hey, students, please forgive Steve.
don't not subscribe.
Please subscribe.
But
Yeah, but then.
But it's not lying. It's not lying. It's fact.
Sure.
Because it's.
But guys, that's the best thing you can do at that time. You know, university there are requirements, guys.
Guys, there's colleges. You know, in China, what they do is that from a young age, in primary school, they identify students with a numeric ability, students who can do manual jobs, and students who just have that thing of thinking. So from a young age, they already. Okay, you're gonna be a plumber or whatever. You're gonna be an electrician.
Sure.
And then they begin to
who allow the skills.
Who identify those children?
The teachers and the parents.
Do you think in SA the parents are doing enough?
Exactly.
Hence I say you can't teach what you don't know.
No.
It's not even that. It's also changing attitudes. Let's be honest. Who here?
Yeah, honestly.
Who wants to hear that? Who wants to hear that their child is just going to be a plumber and not a doctor? As an example.
Like this.
You must stop dreaming.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to. Don't sell people false dreams.
Guys, if you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, guys.
Work with them. And,
that's the.
And it's not like a plumber can't make money. If you're a good plumber, you can open a company and then employ others.
But also, like you're saying, more colleges, more universities.
You need more technicons also. Teach people.
I feel like NSFA should, like, I'm sorry. I'm not guys.
I support.
It's gonna be cancelled. You get 200 views maximum.
No, for real. I'm a fan of beer. I don't mind people doing their own thing, as long as someone is educating himself.
Educating them.
But then they should find a way in the system. I also feel like those guys that have done PA before, they're not doing justice to the people who are still doing PA. You see, for example, when they should create more jobs for them. They should open space for them.
Sure.
What jobs are they going to do?
A journalist who entered SABC at 17 and 18, even now she's still working there. at age 55.
I'm saying they're not doing justice to the other kids.
No, but okay, when are you? Okay, let's say that 55-year-old. When are you going to? Are you going to resign?
What?
Are you going to resign? I'm giving the space to the kids.
In school, they learn different skills. They can try and apply their skills in different. For example, as actually, there's time when but things changes. You see, so we're trying to get into new spaces each and every time. We try to occupy new spaces. So that's the people who are okay. They always find job.
Yeah,
because you try and find a way to manipulate the system. But first we're dealing with insurance. Now you are investment and you are top dogs there. So you need to try and break in the system. So even the PA can just another forward. You need to try and maneuver in the system. Use the skill that they've learned. They create jobs for the other people. I think like there's a problem with them, but I'm angry with them.
No, guys.
For example,
our problems is not money. Our problems is not anything that you think about now. It's planning. We have incompetent people in the government spaces who lack proper management and planning skills. If like for as common thing, if we had people who knew how to plan and to plan for the future, this problem was supposed to be solved. If we had people that were really really good in planning, who knew that maybe in 2023 we're gonna have so many students, about 1 million, actually all included, maybe about private schools and public schools all together. Maybe we've got like 1.2 million or 1.3 million to 1.5 million students per year. All of those students, they need to go out to universities. So and also it comes to NSFAS. Like if we knew that as South Africa, or as South African government, we want to expand in different industries in let me say in mechanics, maybe in agriculture, or maybe in motor, whatever. So we plan to, I think in 20 years in that space or in that industry, I think you're gonna be good. So we don't no longer need people, so we don't have to find or push our students to study that particular industry, because on that industry, I think in 20 years we're gonna be good. So planning to say, I think we are going to be lacking more on doctors. We need more doctors now. We don't have doctors and stuff. We need more doctors. So if NSPS could have a specific buzzard finds that funds it greatly so, because we maybe this thing if they were planned long time ago, and then we didn't have this problem. Planning, incompetent people that are in government.
That's the problem. I think the government should also now try and employ top dog. Don't let the top dog go to the private sectors. They should also call them, because when you look at the private sector is actually growing.
Yeah.
They grow their business, but the government, I think, you need to steal those top dogs there to bring them there so that they can be able to plan for the future. Because the top dogs, when they're working in the private sector, then they're planning for their business. They don't know
5 years from now,
it's the government's responsibility to plan for the whole country. When you go to FNP, they will tell you a 10 years plan. You see, those kind of but the government is very hard for I think the people that are working there in the government, they're not doing
incompetent people, corrupt.
You need to start hiring the top dogs, pay them that huge salary if that's what it's called for, because it's gonna benefit the country.
And these people as well. But yeah, man, South Africa has so many issues. You can talk about them for a long time.
People actually these people that will corruption and stuff. Incompetent people, man, remove.
Very incompetent. Like you can never plan for the future. For example, you can't expect someone who is, for example, someone who is the Minister of Resources, for example, who doesn't even know resources. He has never studied anything.
You know what the word resources?
The power. You see, it becomes a very big problem. How can you plan for the resources? For the future how can you plan for the future of fuel in the country if it doesn't even know? Because at the end of the day, they still need this signature. At the end of the day, even the top dog that knows about minerals, you can't just go there and be like, let's do this minerals, you see. You only go there when you get the job. So,
fact.
So,
if
I was responsible for the job, I feel like they're not.
Our solution to our problems now, let's plan. Competent people and planning.
Competent people.
And even just planning. Generally in life, it's very important to plan. If you're watching this talk, just, plan.
Lay down your plan. Have a diary. I've got a diary that has my whole life plan. So in 45 years, but in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, where at least should I be? I've got a plan in life. So you guys just have plan about your life. Even if maybe you don't really accomplish those goals, but then at least you must be 95% or 90% close to your plans. You know what I mean? Yeah, planning. South African government, I think they were just all about eating, and not forgetting about planning for the future. And now it's hitting us from the back.
Yeah, man, guys, I think, yeah, that's true. That's very true. It doesn't get truer than that, man. Because if you don't plan, then even your future, you won't know if it's the future you want. You'll just be there and accept it.
And if you're not planning now, right, the problems that we're gonna have are gonna be 10 times higher. Because remember, guys, South Africa has a lot of problems. Just imagine we have got 1.5 million just estimation of matriculants, right? They're learning. How many of those are going to be in universities? Remember, maybe per university, big ones receive about 100,000 applications. Out of 100,000, 5,000 of them are taken to first years admitted to the university. What about the 95,000? Where are they going on maybe colleges and they only take about obvious. So
see, we're talking about this problem.
About 2,000, 5,000 of them admitted to college, and the rest 90,000, where is it going? To home. Drinking, children, pregnancy, right? Pregnancy, and then they multiply. So now it's no longer going to be just 1.5 matriculants, because obvious 19 years to come, we're gonna have more matriculants, maybe about 2.5 meters. Now it's more ways. Because of the people that didn't have admissions to universities and stuff. It's just planning, and competent people. Obvious, for you to plan, you need competent people. They should just hire us, government. I'm here, guys. And I can give a proper plan for South Africa, man. The whole.
We have to wrap up, guys.
Yeah.
Anything? Did you forget anything? Did anything else happen this week?
When is the next?
When is the next one? We're not gonna record, or when is it gonna drop? This one I think is gonna drop like Tuesday. Because today is Saturday. Yeah, we're gonna drop Tuesday and then can record Friday, Saturday. When you guys free?
You need to be consistent with the days which are dropping in, so that the people they can know what's okay. We need to stay expecting.
Yeah, but this one I usually drop the one that I record here on a Tuesday, and it's like bi-weekly. So it drops Saturday and Tuesday. So I'm dropping one at 6. So it's dropping at 6, and then the other one is dropping at on Tuesday at 6. Okay. So yeah, usually that's like the cycle that's gonna start, because then there was a week where like we didn't drop because I didn't record, there was no episode. So this one's dropping on Tuesday, and then we're gonna record another one maybe Thursday, Friday, then record it, and then we'll drop it on Tuesday. So it's Tuesday, Saturday, then we record maybe on Saturday again, and then drop on Tuesday. You get it?
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, you guys will let me know, man. We're free, we'll talk. Because we couldn't even talk about everything.
Like you can talk until the
We can talk.
Yeah,